MACJ Mic'd Up, your one stop podcast for health, finance, and everything under the sun. Brought to you by Somaya Vidyavihar University. We are here to spark conversations, ask bold questions, and keep things real. I'm your host Shreya, and today joined by
Ashutosh at Nidhi Capital, which is a mutual fund distribution firm.
who's here to unpack the topic growth and savings, understanding mutual funds for your future. So grab your headphones, settle in, and let's gear up for a conversation you don't want to miss. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So what exactly is mutual funds?
You can explain, say someone who is young, who is listening to us, we can explain mutual fund as a pool of investments. So when you invest in equities, when you're 18, you have your own PAN card, which is a permanent tax identification card. So when you have that, the first thing a lot of people do, since they have been tracking the stock market, is open a equity trading account, maybe with Zerodha, maybe with Crow, or any other platform, Angel. So when you invest in stocks, you are investing in individual stocks. But then comes mutual fund, which brings the concept of investing in a basket of securities, which is spread out. Like mutual fund enables you to invest in a basket of securities, so you don't have to pick one stock or two stocks, and you just invest in any of the specific funds. So there are a lot of funds, there are categories of funds. There are large cap, there's mid cap, there's multi cap, which involves everything, large, mid and small cap. There's small cap fund. So there are funds based on what your tastes are in investing, and then you invest a lump sum amount in them, or you start a SIP, which is a systematic investment plan. And the fund, the AMC who runs the fund, there are multiple AMCs again, HDFC, ICICI, there is of course Bandhan. So these AMCs then take your money in that specific fund and then go on to invest in the specific fund that you have invested in, like mid cap. So they go and invest 65% of your money specifically in mid cap, and the rest 35% they invest in diversified other stocks. So owning even one unit of a mutual fund, which is worth at the time of NFO, which is a new fund offer when a fund is launched. So owning even one fund in that such a scheme enables you to own a portfolio of 40 to 50 stocks, which in real life, if you open your trading app and go to buy 40 to 50 stocks, maybe you'll require a capital of 60 to 70,000 or maybe even more. So 10 rupees NAV giving you exposure to 60 to 70 stocks, and actually going with a 1 lakh or 1.5 lakh rupees, which mostly when you're young, you have just got your PAN card and you've just opened your trading account, is not possible. So that kind of exposure mutual fund can provide you very easily.
Okay. So what are the risks that is usually involved when someone is investing in these mutual funds?
Okay. So since mutual fund is a very regulated space, all the products are regulated. The AMCs which are formed work under AMFI. The mutual fund distributors have to be registered with AMFI, which is Association of Mutual Funds of India. So in general, the risks of you can say the systemic risk are eliminated. So there is no systemic risk like ये फंड ने मेरा अगर पैसा कुछ ये कर दिया, mismanage कर दिया. Those risks are not there because there are very strong guardrails there. The only risk that you face when you invest in mutual fund is the valuation risk, that you have invested at a certain value. So once a fund does an NFO, which is a new fund offer at 10 rupees, the NFO price then starts fluctuating with the price of the underlying stocks that the mutual fund has brought. So maybe a 10 rupee NAV fund, in 5 years maybe it will go to 30 rupees, maybe 40 rupees. So on the 5th year, when you invest in that fund, you are buying the net asset value. The unit that you are buying, the net asset value is around 40 rupees. So there is the risk that maybe the market is overvalued and maybe there will be a capital depletion that might happen if the fund moves from 40 rupees to say 35 rupees. Then you are losing about from 40 to 30. If it moves, then you are losing about 33% of your 25% of your asset. But that is why to young people there's always a suggestion that do SIPs. So what happens when you start an SIP in the same fund at 40 rupees, say in May 2025 you started an SIP at 40 rupees, and in June maybe it fell down to 35. So again, since it's a systematic investment plan on a monthly frequency, you'll again buy some units at 35 rupees. Maybe it further falls down if the market falls down. Maybe the NAV also of the fund falls down to 30 rupees. Then you'll buy a SIP of 30 rupees. So you are averaging on a lower price, and eventually when the markets recover, given India's economic conditions and everything, eventually there are good chances that the market will recover from every fall, at least for the forthcoming future. So when the NAV starts recovering, your 30 rupees NAV is at a profit when the NAV reaches 35. When the NAV reaches 38, your 35 rupees averaging price is again at a profit. And slowly, as the market keeps moving up, even your initial investment of 40 rupees will come under profit. So this entire mechanism of buying at and averaging the NAVs is called rupee cost averaging. And I've done my research and I've seen the concept of SIP, a systematic investment plan, which gives, in essence, you give a mandate to your bank to auto debit your account, your bank account, and send the funds to the AMC at every specified date of every month. So you can do this daily also whenever the market is active. It's called a daily SIP. You can do this weekly and you can do this monthly, and of course all the frequencies are available, and you can decide the dates of debit. So you give the mandate to the banks, and I've researched around the world. I don't think this monthly debit concept is available anywhere. Of course, there are plans where monthly a portion of your monthly salary in USA will go to your 401k. A lot of other countries also have similar plans, but voluntarily going to a fund house, voluntarily going to a asset management company and telling them ki here's a bank mandate, and this is, and telling your bank you have to pay this AMC, you have to invest my money 10k 5k whatever it is at this specified frequency at this date to the AMC, and you are giving instruction to the AMC to invest this money at the prevailing NAV, which is the net asset value, in this fund, in this strategy, which is mid cap, small cap, multi cap, flexi cap, in whatever strategy you prefer. That is the very essence of Indian mutual fund industry that I have researched and I have not seen available anywhere. So the risk, to come back to your question, I don't think the risk, if you have a good mutual fund advisor, which we at Nidhi Capital provide, these advisors work on reducing your risk given your investment horizon, given your investment amount, and given your risk appetite. So risks can be eliminated. Of course, it can't be brought down to zero. There are always risks. If war happens, what will happen? So there are always unpredictable uncertainties. If COVID happens, what will be the valuation of my portfolio? Those things can't be predicted. But on a portfolio basis or on a market size basis, we attempt, it is our best, in the best interest of the investor, to reduce the risk to the minimum possible levels.
So what best advice you have for someone who is going to invest in mutual funds?
Okay, so again, assuming that a lot of young people are watching this and hearing to us, I'll point out the biggest mistakes that people do. So there are advertisements and there are awareness campaigns that mutual funds do, AMFI does, where it's said you can do micro SIPs. You can start with a 100 rupee SIP, you can start with a 500 rupee SIP. Of course, you should start with a 100 or 500 rupees SIP, but that should not be the end of your investment. So मैं तो 100 रुपए का monthly SIP मेरा जा रहा है, मेरा investment हो रहा है. So that does not fulfill the goal that you're saving for. So always have a goal in mind. Why am I investing? Why am I saving my money? This is the first aspect. This is the first point. So similarly, for educating investors, we have a calculator a page dedicated to financial calculators, nidhicap.com/calculators.html. So I'll share the link. There you can go. There are 20 varieties of financial calculators on that page where you can explore SIP, step up SIP. Starting too late. A lot of people start saving too late and after a lot of insistence. So start saving early. Try to start saving early. Fourth thing is getting disillusioned by other type of financial assets. So a lot of people I've seen have burned their hands in Bitcoin, crypto. It's an unregulated product. The government doesn't encourage it. We don't encourage it. A lot of people I've seen burn hands in FNO, which is future and option market. It is more of a casino gambling sort of thing. Even SEBI has regulated most of the brokers to put a disclaimer that 9 out of 10 FNO and derivative traders lose their money. So you have to always ask, what is the return that I will earn? I don't want your ULIP product, which is a unit linked investment plan. I don't want your ULIP return unless you tell me what is the return that I'll earn. Of course, it will be again based on an assumption because it's unit linked investment plan. So there will be no definitive return, but they should give you an estimate of how much you are expected to earn. Is there a lock-in? So you have to ask these questions. Is there a lock-in? What is the minimum amount that I can withdraw? When can I start withdrawing? Is there an exit load? So these are the kind of questions you should always ask. What return should I expect? And I think fifth mistake is not consulting before investing. Not consulting the right person before investing. So we have seen that even in studies, a lot of people choose their careers in peer pressure. A lot of people choose their jobs in peer pressure. A lot of people choose their colleges in peer pressure. कि भाई मेरे दोस्त जा रहे मैं भी जा रहा हूँ.
Even family pressures.
Yes.
That put in. But that's like the biggest pressure that comes around कि बच्चा engineering करेगा, बच्चा medical में जाएगा.
Yes, exactly. So in investment, at least consult a financial advisor. Go to a mutual fund distributor. Ask them, this is my plan. This is what I want to save. I want to go on a foreign trip. I want to get married by 28. I want to settle in life, buy a home by 35. I want to retire by 55 or 60. So these are my plans. What should I do? How much should I save? What return should I expect realistically? How much risk should I take on? And when these questions are answered satisfactorily, I'm not saying just agree with whatever they say. If you think that this person is genuinely answering my questions, telling me all the risks involved, maybe some of my goals will not be achievable. So the realistic assumptions, the realistic investment targets that the advisor gives you, you have to judge that and then take into account what savings that you have and then start investing with the help of such an advisor. As a mutual fund investors, we are incentivized by asset management companies to actually sell the product, and we are incentivized by the portfolio of our clients to grow. So the growth of a client is in the interest of a financial advisor. The bigger their portfolio grows, the more incentives the asset management company shares with me. So since our interests are linked, a mutual fund advisor, investment advisor, financial advisor will always align with your investment horizons and investment planning. And I can't say that for someone who you randomly consult for investment advice, since their incentives and financial goals are not aligned with yours. Maybe they won't give so much time to you. So all the MFDs are required to clear an ISIN 5A, which is a mutual fund distribution license that everyone has to have, whoever sells mutual funds. So they are knowledgeable in terms of that also. So of course, consulting people is also the fifth point which you should pay attention.
So how would you differentiate between a good financial advisor and a bad financial advisor?
Okay. There are a lot of financial products in the market. So A good financial advisor, at least this is my filter, not professionally speaking on a very personal level. When I go to consult any financial advisor, of course my dad is my financial advisor, but the certain things that I look in a financial advisor are what products they are selling, and are the products aligned to their incentives or my incentives. So as a client, I have to see if they are selling very high margin products which are push products. As a distributor, I'm pushing those products onto my clients. It is not required by them. It is not aligned to the financial plan. So a bad advisor will sell you products that are very difficult to understand, complex products which are aligned to the distributor. They are highly incentivized to sell those products. Whereas in mutual fund industry, specifically since we are talking about mutual funds, one thing that I've always appreciated, the AMFI, which is not a self-regulatory authority or SEBI authority or any government authority. It is an association of all the mutual fund distributors and AMCs and all mutual fund participants themselves. So they have made a body like NASSCOM, which is an IT. NASSCOM is an IT body. On similar lines, AMFI has been made, and we self-regulate. There are regulations to tell what I am earning from the investor. So the investor gets a mail every quarter from CAMS, CAMS and KFIN. These are the two RTA, rights and transfer agencies. They send email to the investors showing what products you own, what funds you own, and how much the distributor, the advisor, is earning on it. So that is a kind of disclosure which I don't think happens anywhere in the industry. And the investor is happy to pay that commission, to pay that distribution charge to the AMC, which the AMC then in turn shares with the mutual fund distributor, because the investor is receiving timely guidance, because the investor's interests are protected, and because mutual fund is a very safe asset class with easy trackability. You can go today to MF Central. It's a service. You can go today to CAMS, which is again an RTA, and you can put your PAN card there, and you can find out all the transactions since the day you were born on that PAN card till today in mutual funds. So that is the level of disclosure, and that is the level of authenticity that mutual fund has. So end of the day, again, when the mutual fund, when the advisor, financial advisor, investment advisor is pushing products onto you without explaining how it will help in achieving your financial goal, how it will help in earning great returns, and is just pushing products on you and seeing you as an opportunity to sell products, that's a bad advisor. If an advisor comes to you and tells you this is aligned to your financial goal, this is the returns you'll make, this is how much I will earn from you, these are my incentives, these are your incentives, this is what you'll earn, this is how much you should save, there should be not under planning or over planning, that kind of distributor is a good, that kind of advisor is a good advisor. So of course an advisor has to be compensated, but that compensation should be fair. It shouldn't be aligned to the advisor and not to the client. It should be a win-win, not I win you lose or you lose I win. So it should not be any other way around. It should always be a win-win situation. That's how you figure out a good advisor.
Alright then, any last advice you want to give before we end this episode?
Sure. Again, I will like to repeat, very first thing that you do whenever you start earning or whenever you have money that you want to start saving, maybe you're getting in form of pocket money or anything, maybe internships, maybe stipends, anything that you earn, and you want to start investing, you have created your PAN card. The first thing you do, go find a good calculator. Again, like I said, NidhiCap also has calculators. Just go to nidhicap.com calculator section. Calculate how much you'll save, and is it enough for me? If it's not enough for me, how much more should I make? Should my dreams be smaller or should my earnings be bigger? So this is how you have to account for. Of course, goals are unlimited, but in that moment when you're looking at that calculator, keep realistic visions. Uh, Make sure the most essential things in your life are noted down. You have noted it down on a paper, and then start entering those amounts. Start finding out how much SIP I need to do monthly to save for this goal. In how many years can I achieve this goal? Will I be able to achieve this goal? If not, what do I need to do? So be realistic when it comes to finances. Don't rely on anyone else. Don't rely on anyone else when it comes to your finances. Have a realistic goal, then approach an investment advisor, then approach a mutual fund distributor and tell them, I have these goals, I have this much time for each of my goal. Help me fit products into my goals if products are available. Don't push unnecessary products on me, and be very serious with your investments, and don't take this subject lightly.
So with this we come to an end for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you gained some financial wealth and you can pass it on to the others who are listening to this. Thank you so much for being in this video with me and having us on this podcast.
Yeah. And I would like to add, I commend Somaya for doing this activity, Somaya College, and I would propose to come visit the college and conduct a session whenever I get the time, whenever you give me the time.
Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Bye.